So let's get underway with the first of 6 junior Rotax heats. It's Heat 1, Groups A versus B. Let's take you through the starting grid. So on pole position, the fastest driver in time qualifying yesterday evening, Borlouet, will have Great Britain's Macaulay Bishop alongside. Then it's the Netherlands and Croatia with Kasper Schormans and Leon Zelenko. Zelenko picked up the junior Rotax title for this year's international trophy back at Le Mans in the heat of summer in July in France. Emmanuel Jovanovic and Mitchell van Dijk ran at row 3. Knut Nielsen and Fredrik Zerbis Christensen, row 4, with Felipe Falk and Alexander Savinkov running out the top 10. Jimmy Kokalainen and Aras Majalskis running out the top 6 rows ahead of Thomas Ingram Hill and Maxim Suchurko. Armand Hamilton and Batuan Kumas row 8. Sebastian Bach, who's back from injury. Good to see the young Dane now on the inside of row number 9, alongside Lithuania's Tomas Rudokas. Anya Levar, Patrik Slipovics and Andrija Kostic running out the 21-strong grid. And shout out to the Sodi UKC Academy, wishing Sodi Vitesse, run by team manager and now former racer Brad Barrett. We're going to have the opportunity to chat with over the course of the last couple of days, and they're also wishing Dave Ritson a very happy birthday. So good to hear from the crew over there in the United Kingdom. So 7 minutes plus an additional lap set on the timer. Also got the red lights ignited on the starting gantry as well. In terms of the first set of, first third of heats for minis, juniors and seniors. If minis was the aperitif, this is definitely the main course. And dessert comes up with senior Rotax after the 2 junior Rotax heats, so heats 1 and 2 are completed. And Bishop on the front row, out of turn number 12. Into the tram lines we go. Revs rise. Are we ready? Are we steady? It is a full start for the first one of the meeting. So round for another tour of this 1,360-metre circuit we go. I thought it might not be that long before we had a full start, and we've just had that one very much confirmed. So Rexer not happy with the formation. Now, if a driver puts 2 wheels out of the tram lines, it's 3-second time penalty added to their total race time. If it's all 4 wheels out of the tram line, so that's a complete break of formation before the lights go out, it is a 5 seconds time penalty that is handed to the driver. So we are about to get things under starters orders for the second time of asking. So, Borlouet and Macaulay Bishop on the front row. Kasper Schormans and Leon Zelenko, row 2. Then we're going to have the likes of, Kasper Schormans and Leon Zelenko, row 2. Nemanja Jovanovic and Mitchell van Dijk ran at the top 3 rows. So, once again, this time under starters' orders. Into the tram lines we go. Revs rise. Are we ready? Are we steady? Second time we are underway. It's a good start from Borlouet. He bangs side pods with Macaulay Bishop. Bishop sideways under braking, but gets round the outside. So does Kasper Schormans. And the youngster from Born in the Netherlands gets up into P2. There has been a turnaround. That's Kostic, who's gone spinning and that grass is incredibly wet. So the 279 very much is trying to get that cart moving, and it's moving at a very slow pace. There's also a moment here that is for the 265 That's Knud Nielsen from Denmark, who was running in P6, but the young Dane was 180 degrees the wrong way on the going onto the Europolaan. As we're getting a great battle a bit further behind. Kasper Schürmann is at the front of that. Oh my goodness me, that's really gotten a bit close. The 291 was Felipe Falk from the Netherlands, who's really ended up falling at the back end of this train, but Kasper Schürmann, I think, might be leading it, and that is the case because Borlouet now is in third place. Macaulay Bishop has bolted already within the first 60 seconds and has over a 1.5 second lead over Leon Zelenko, and the madness is happening a bit further behind. Drivers have really got to be on their A game, make the clean overtakes. Kasper Schürmann's leading that train. That's from 5th down as he's got Fredrik Zebis Christiansen, Nemanja Jovanovic. Alexander Savinkov from Great Britain has now moved up to 8th ahead of Maxim Sichurko, with Felipe Falk, Thomas Ingram Hill and Armand Hamilton rounding out the top 12 positions. Bit of a move, an attempted move there from Zebis. But a little bit further behind, Felipe Falk sends it up the inside and gets through on Savinkov. That was for position. 2 minutes down, 5 to go. Bishop leads. Leading from Zelenko, 1.9 seconds. Zelenko's got Borlouet back with him, the 224. Hasn't had the luck this year as Borlouet. His older dad Stain has been running in the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux in the amateur class this year and has had his own success. So hopefully that rubs off onto his son's shoulders. 4 minutes and 34 seconds still to go. It's about scoring as minimal points as possible in this to get yourself as far up the grid and to keep yourself out of harm's way of being in that second chance heat tomorrow morning. Borlouet has got some real good pace. He's keeping Zelenko very much occupied. So Zelenko also running on the Sodi Kart chassis. So 4 minutes to go, and Bishop's lead was 1.9 seconds after 2 laps. Now after 3, it's nearly 2 seconds. Louet puts in the fastest lap of the race, 57.480. This is more like the conditions the drivers wanted during qualifying last night. And we didn't quite have it, I'm afraid, because there was a delay between Group 1 and Group 2 qualification. 3 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock. Louet is absolutely chomping at the bit to get past Leon Zelenko. And they are line astern. Is Zelenko going to run a little bit wide coming into turn 8? Does not happen. Louet trying to do everything just to put the pressure on. So there is a time penalty going to the 2:26. Tomas Rudokas from Lithuania now has been hit officially with a 5-second time penalty. Second and third, very much line astern still. Louet trying to put the pressure on the youngster from Croatia just up ahead. Keep your eyes on the driver behind. That's Mitchell van Dijk, and Mitchell van Dijk was pretty much the same pace that last lap in comparison with Borlouet, so they both ran in the 57.5s. A little bit of a gap now starting to emerge between Zelenko and Louet. So Vinkov now down into 10th position. Number 268 with Argenti Motorsport. Now battling away, and that is going to be with, funnily enough, the 228 of Sebastian Bach from Denmark. So Macaulay Bishop now has nearly a 2.2 second advantage over second and third. Mitchell van Dijk is losing ground to them as well. He's still holding station. He's basically in no man's land here in 4th place. A little bit further back, Kasper Schürmann has managed to bolt away from Fredrik Zebis. Nemanja Jovanovic did round out the top 7 until Felipe Falk had something to say about it. And that's from the Netherlands running on the TB kart chassis. Now sitting in 7th position. Bumping over the curves through the chicane at turn 7 for both Leon Zelenko and Borlouet. And it's getting even closer as Loet was braver on the brakes through into turn 10. He could get a good run coming out of the final corner if he plants it nicely behind Leon Zelenko through turn 12. Bishop crosses the line to complete another lap, but look at the slipstream now that's going to come into effect for Borlouet, and he pulls alongside Leon Zelenko, sideways under braking from the young Belgian, and he gets through. Great move there from Borlouet to get up into second position with just 60 seconds on the clock, plus an additional lap remaining. He waited, bided his time, and struck when he needed to, and knew the fact that he was teeing Leon Zelenko up to go for that move going into turns 1 and 2, and sideways with a back axle swinging out to the left. He kept it planted, so a nice job there from Borlouet. But Macaulay Bishop has really he's put people on notice. He really has. He did that back in 2019 at the Grand Finals as a Micromax driver. Now in 2022, we've got a very, very credible young junior Rotax racer here. Onto the penultimate lap we go, as Bishop crosses the line with just under 20 seconds remaining on the timer. Fastest lap of the race has gone to the driver in 5th place, Casper Schormans from the Netherlands, the number 240, running with JJ Racing. So timer has officially expired, and Macaulay Bishop at the moment is making his way out of turn 8. Borlouet has started to put some daylight between himself and Leon Zelenko after that fantastic move we saw earlier on, with 3 laps to go. So Macaulay Bishop now making his way through turn number 12 as we speak. There's Loet and Zelenko now exit the final corner. Last lap board out for the first of 6 junior Rotax heats, and Macaulay Bishop sees it first. Borlouet now has Leon Zelenko. That was a great move from the Croatian. He waited until the last moment, and the 251 from Croatia put it up the inside of the 224 from Belgium to now regain the second place coming onto the final lap. What I've also noticed is that Mitchell van Dijk he's been keeping pace with these two, but the gap really hasn't dwindled as much. So, Mitchell van Dijk, Casper Schormans, Fredrik Zebis Christensen, Nemanja Jovanovic, Felipe Falk, Sebastian Bach, and Alexander Savinkov rounding out the top 10 as our race leader. Macaulay Bishop, based out of Hoddesdon in Hertfordshire, comes out of the final corner and will win the opening junior Rotax heat out of 6. And it's going to be a run to the line. Here we go. It is Croatia pipping Belgium by just under a 1/10 of a second. So Leon Zelenko takes second place ahead of Borlouet. Mitchell van Dijk completes the top 4 ahead of the Netherlands' Casper Schormans. Fredrik Zebis Christensen and Nemanja Jovanovic complete the top 7, followed by Felipe Falk, Alexander Savinkov, and Thomas Ingram Hill round out the top 10. But there is your race winner, Macaulay Bishop, on his slow-down lap, heading into Scrutineering. But what a great start for the weekend for this young man from Hoddesdon. Not too far outside of the hometown of the 7-time Formula 1 world champion, Lewis Hamilton. So he makes his way into the pit lane, as does Borlouet, Leon Zelenko, Mitchell van Dijk, and Casper Schormans. So let's take you through the race results for the junior Rotax opening heat, A versus B. Bishop wins by nearly 3 seconds ahead of Zelenko, Loet, van Dijk, and Schormans rounding out the top 5. Fredrik Zebis Christensen, Nemanja Jovanovic, Felipe Falk, Alexander Savinkov, and Thomas Ingram Hill round out the top 10. Sebastian Bach, Armand Hamilton, Maxim Suchurko, Aras Majalskis round out the top 14 ahead of Patrick Lipovics. Thomas Rudokas hit with a 5-second time penalty, crossed the line in 16th ahead of Anja Levar, Batuan Kumas, Jimmy Kokalainen, Knut Nielsen, and Andrija Kostic completing the 21-strong field, all completing the 9 laps of racing. So looking back over the action, Macaulay Bishop keeping to himself and waiting until the lights went out. We did have our first full start of the race weekend A little bit of a moment earlier on, and that was Kunda Nielsen actually getting stuck on the exit of turn 6 and lighting up the rear tyres a la Ken Block. Zelenko was wide at one point. Loet was really trying to look through the inside, but then it came to 3 laps to go. Loet just sent it sideways under braking. And the Croatian didn't have an answer for that move at that point. However, with the final lap underway, Zelenko just waited until the last microsecond to get through. But it was Macaulay Bishop that took the victory by nearly 3 seconds after that one. Zelenko kept the door shut and did not allow Boluet to get through, with Mitchell van Dijk completing